What is up, everyone? Welcome to my rankings for shortstop in 2025 fantasy baseball. I'm Joe Rowan, your lead fantasy analyst. Happy to have you all here today with me. Let's talk about some shortstops. And when it comes to this position for fantasy baseball in 2025, this might be the smartest position to show a little bit of restraint. This is a very deep position, a lot of talent here, a lot of talent here. If there was one fantasy baseball position that overachieved in 2024, it was shortstop. There are many quality options here, and a lot of them didn't even make it into my rankings here, my top 10, which is a shame, but it also tells us a message, have some patience when drafting because the gold could fall late. So, with that, let's get into the top 10. And first, let's talk a little bit about the Angels' Zach Neto. And I'll be frank, Neto is a bit of a wild card. I'll be the first to admit, but there's something to be said about his 23-30 season. 20-30 season, anytime you get above that, amazing production. First off, it was way under the radar. I missed picking him up in many leagues purely because of how quietly he was achieving these things. Statcast doesn't appear to like him much, unfortunately, but they don't like CJ Abrams either. So I believe both of them can put up usable totals next season, even if their counting stats aren't fantastic. And honestly, I would draft both of these shortstops way before a lot of other options out there. So there's a reason he's in the top 10. And with that, I think it's time to move on to number 9. Let's talk about O'Neal Cruz a little bit, the Pittsburgh Pirates. And I included O'Neal here because, yes, he's playing center field for Pittsburgh this season, but he still has eligibility at shortstop in all leagues. So I'm going to include him in my shortstop rankings and not my outfield rankings. And I'll tell the truth about O'Neal too. He needs to hit the ball in the air. That if he has such a hard impact on the ball, he has the highest active velocities. Up there with Judge, Stanton, guys like that. There isn't any other person on this list who comes close to his Statcast metrics. You know, I think it's safe to say Cruz will most likely have trouble with striking out a good amount. He's 26 at this point. I don't know if that rate will improve for him. Hopefully it does. But I still think even with the strikeout rate, he went 20-20 last year. He could go 30-30. He could. I'm fine with the strikeout rates as long as he gives me that positive production and he turns some of those ground balls into fly balls and improves that launch angle doing so. So yeah, I like O'Neal. He's got great upside. Next is number 8 with Corey Seager of the Texas Rangers. Now, he's a superstar when he's on the field, no doubt about it. Unfortunately, we have to label Seager as injury prone, especially being on the wrong side of 30. The mission is simple for him: stay healthy, and the numbers will be in good shape. This is an improved Texas lineup. They were in a World Series hangover last year, and I think in 2025 they're going to get back to their 2023 selves. They just added Jake Berger and Jack Peterson to the offense. Man, that's crazy. This team could win another World Series this year. I'm going to come out and say it. If their pitching stays healthy, they could. They have a good enough offense to do so. I think it's very fair to say we all expected a bit of regression from them last year. We didn't know the type of regression that would happen. But the thing is, Seager still performed at a very high level and reached the 30 home run mark, which he always has the ability to do if he stays on the field. Simple as that. Next up, number 7, we're gonna get. Hopefully, we get a little bit of a more regular Trey Turner, more like himself. Just like Turner is sandwiched between premier hitters. Schwarber, Bryce Harper, and I actually think that Dave Dombrowski came out and said that he thinks that manager Rob Thompson is going to bat Turner leadoff. So that's big for him. I'd say the value of Schwarber goes down a little bit and the value of Turner goes up. I love my leadoff hitters. It was a disappointing end of the year for Philadelphia, which Turner did have much to do with, but I expect a big bounce back from him and hitting leadoff just like he used to in Washington. I like him a lot this year. Next up is number 6 and Francisco Lindor. You think it's too low to rank him? I don't think so. Mets fans might come after me, but it's whatever. Yeah, you probably think it's nuts to rank, him below a guy like Willie Adames, but maybe, maybe not. I'd invite you all to look back at Lindor's past seasons. He had a great year this past season, but the seasons before that were good, but not maybe what many thought. Not at the ultra high level superstar level. Um, you know, the Mets run was magical. Don't be surprised if this team underachieves next season, though, in some sort of a hangover fashion. Just I warned you all. I could see the same trend happening with Lindor. That said, he's hitting leadoff in front of Juan Soto, one of the best hitters in baseball. So I think he's going to be good. I do. I just like other shortstops more than him this year. Call me crazy, but that's me. Next up is number 5 and Willie Adames, and he's in his prime. A lot of people are, saying, from Milwaukee to San Francisco, that's a park downgrade. Yeah, not as much as you think. You know, the 3-run home runs might not be as often because he hit a crazy amount of those last year, but the underlying data point to him keeping up the power, and he's got a high barrel rate, high bat speed, and he's got really strong expected slug percentiles. So, his most underrated characteristic actually comes in the forward of the selective eye. He takes his walks, took 71 walks in 2023, 74 this past season. I like him hitting second, hitting that Giants lineup. I think he can be a repeatable 30 home run, 30, 35 home run threat. And it's a shortstop I like. Number 4, Gunnar Henderson. He's a star to build around for Baltimore. He's their guy. It's really only one word to use for the Baltimore Orioles offense this past season. It was yuck. Outside of Henderson and Anthony Santander, nobody really carried their weight, unfortunately. Good news is that Orioles star is solidified and someone that can build around. He slowed down in the second half, but showed signs of greatness. A 9.1 B WAR was the result after he smacked 37 round trippers with an 893 OPS, in addition to playing great defense. He also ran more in 2023 and has sneaky speed, so hopefully he gets back to that. And I could see him taking 25 bags this year. Next, we enter the top 3, and it's time to talk about Mookie Betts. The Dodgers and Ohtani and Freeman and Betts, they're all going to be back to defend their title. No reason to believe anything different. And they could. I mean, they have the best roster in baseball on paper, for sure. And he's sandwiched between Ohtani and Freeman, arguably the best spot to hit in baseball. So for a guy who once put up a single season B WAR of 10.7, all roads lead to success and a lot of safety here. The power might have taken a step back in 2024, and it's worth keeping an eye on, but the counting stats are going to be amazing. He's going to steal. He's going to do everything for you. Next up, we have Ellie De La Cruz. And 67 steals this past season. Anyone who had such an advantage. I don't care how risky the profile remains. If you want to lock down steals, just take Ellie. Man, I mean, I regret being one of the guys who bought too much into Ellie's strikeout rate because he's kind of gotten over that. It's kind of like the thing with O'Neal Cruz. He's going to have a high strikeout rate. I don't really think he's going to get around that. But if he produces and all of his other at-bats and most of his other at-bats, then I think you can pay that price. Yeah, and there's really only one guy that you can take ahead of Elliott at shortstop, and it's one of the faces of the league, one of the best players out there, probably the number 2 overall best player in fantasy, and that's Bobby Witt Jr. Ultra talented Royal Star lands is the primary choice here. He's the best of the best. I definitely take Witt over Aaron Judge in terms of just overall, first, second, third overall picks, but it would be Ohtani, Witt, and then Judge for me. All the stats are there. We saw it coming in the minors. He's got all the tools imaginable. So I'm curious to see what his homer and steal total is going to be this season because it was great last year. He's a 30-30 type of guy. I think he can get to 40-40, and we'll see if he does. So with that, thank you. Thank you for all being here. Love talking to you guys about fantasy baseball. I will be here with you all draft season and season long. Don't worry, I'm not going anywhere. You got me. You got me for questions too. Please subscribe to the button down below. Just Fantasy Baseball channel. We'd love to have you guys. Love to for you guys to stick around. Come talk with me about fantasy baseball. Let me know any questions you have. Shoot me some questions. Anything you want to hear from me, rankings, anything like that. Just let me know. So with that, until next time, have a good one.